All right, today we're jumping into one of the most powerful and, honestly, one of the most feared drugs in all of medicine. We're talking about the chemotherapy agent, doxorubicin. It is an absolute beast when it comes to fighting cancer. But that power, well, it comes with a pretty serious reputation.
Yeah, in the world of oncology, it's got a nickname that sounds like something out of a comic book, the Red Devil. And it gets that name for two reasons. First, it's literally bright red. I mean, it's a shocking color to see in an IV bag. And second, it's known for the incredibly potent and often really tough side effects it can bring. And that right there, that's the core of what we're talking about today. Doxorubicin is a total double-edged sword. It's a hero that saves lives, for sure, but it's a hero with a really dangerous side. So we're going to unpack both its incredible life-saving abilities and the serious collateral damage it leaves behind.
Okay, so let's start with the hero part of the story. Before we get into its dark side, let's really understand why this drug is called a cornerstone of chemotherapy. And its origin story, well, it's probably not what you're thinking. So get this. This incredibly sophisticated, powerful drug wasn't cooked up from scratch in some high-tech lab. Nope. It was first found back in the 1950s, taken from a simple bacterium living in the soil near a castle in Italy. Just think about that for a second. It came from dirt, and now it's a global standard in cancer treatment. Kinda wild. So what makes this little molecule from the soil so incredibly good at killing cancer? Well, here's the key. Doxorubicin doesn't just poke the cancer cell in one spot. It launches this devastating multi-front war that just completely overwhelms the cell's ability to fight back. And this is its battle plan. First, it does something called intercalation. Basically, the drug molecule physically wedges itself into the cancer cell's DNA. Think of it like jamming a zipper so it can't be opened or closed. This stops the cell from copying its DNA and dividing. Second, it messes with an enzyme called topoisomerase II, which is supposed to untangle DNA. By blocking it, the DNA gets tangled up and shatters. And third, it creates a storm of these highly destructive molecules called free radicals. They're like tiny, out-of-control sparks flying everywhere, damaging everything they touch. And that last part, iron chelation, actually pours fuel on that fire, making the free radical storm even worse. So with all that chaos going on, the jammed DNA, the shattered chromosomes, the free radical storm, the cancer cell is so damaged it just can't recover. The drug has essentially pushed the cell's big red self-destruct button. This is called apoptosis, or programmed cell death. And because its attack is so fundamental to how cells work, doxorubicin is effective against a crazy wide range of cancers. I mean, look at this list. It's a go-to weapon for breast cancer, lymphomas, leukemias, sarcomas, you name it. It is truly one of the workhorses of modern oncology. But, and this is the big but, here's the pivot in our story. Those exact same things that make it a master cancer killer, the DNA jamming, the free radical storm, they don't have a label that says, for cancer cells only. They inflict serious collateral damage on a patient's healthy cells too. And this brings us to that collateral damage. This is where the Red Devil really earns its name. Let's take a look at the real human cost of using such a powerful weapon. So doxorubicin is especially tough on any cells in your body that divide really fast. That means your bone marrow, which makes all your blood cells. It means the lining of your mouth and your gut, and, of course, your hair follicles. This is what leads to those classic, tough chemo side effects: risk of infection, painful mouth sores, nausea, and yeah, pretty much guaranteed hair loss. But beyond all those immediate side effects, there's the one that doctors fear the most. Remember that free radical storm we talked about? Well, it turns out that our heart muscle cells are especially vulnerable to that kind of damage. They just don't have good natural defenses against that kind of attack. This heart damage, or cardiotoxicity, can show up in two ways. There's an acute version that can happen right after treatment, which is often temporary. But the one everyone is really worried about is the chronic, cumulative kind. The more of the drug you get over your lifetime, the higher the risk. And the scary part is that damage is permanent and can lead to serious congestive heart failure, sometimes years after the treatment is over. And that's why this number is so critical. This is the generally accepted lifetime dose limit for doxorubicin. Doctors track every single dose a patient gets. Once you hit this cap, that's it. You can't have any more, ever. It is a hard stop, a safety measure to prevent irreversible heart damage. It makes every single infusion a really careful calculation.
Okay, so this all sounds incredibly scary, right? And it is. But oncologists aren't just winging it. Over the decades, they've developed a really sophisticated playbook for how to tame the red devil and manage all of these serious risks. It's a whole strategy. It starts with that strict lifetime dose tracking we just talked about. It also means regular heart checkups with echocardiograms. Sometimes they'll even use another drug, a cardioprotectant called dextrazoxane, to act as a shield for the heart. And of course, there's a whole arsenal of supportive medicines to help with nausea, low blood counts, and all the other side effects. But one of the absolute cleverest things they've come up with is to actually change the drug's packaging. So you have this standard conventional form, but now there's also a liposomal version. What this means is they take the doxorubicin molecules and hide them inside these microscopic little bubbles made of fat. It's like putting the dangerous payload inside a special delivery vehicle. And here's the brilliant part. Those little fat bubbles are too big to leak out of normal, healthy blood vessels, like the ones in your heart. But, and this is the key, the blood vessels that cancers build for themselves are often messy and full of holes. They're leaky. So these little bubbles slip right through those gaps, delivering the doxorubicin right to the tumor's doorstep, while mostly bypassing healthy organs like the heart. It's an incredibly smart way to reduce the risk of that dreaded heart damage. So after all that, its amazing power and its profound risks, what's the final word on doxorubicin? Well, it really is the poster child for a double-edged sword in medicine. You know, despite everything we've talked about, all the dangers, this statement is just fundamentally true. For decades, this drug has been on the front lines, saving countless lives and turning cancers that used to be a death sentence into diseases people can live with or even be cured of. And that's really the key takeaway here. The story of doxorubicin is all about a high-stakes balancing act. Every single day, doctors and patients are weighing its incredible, proven power to kill cancer against its very real, potentially life-altering side effects. Which, of course, leaves us with the big question for the future of oncology. The challenge isn't just finding new ways to kill cancer. The real challenge is finding ways to do it more cleanly, with more precision. So how do we engineer the next generation of cancer drugs to have all the raw power of the red devil, but without any of its devastating collateral damage? Answering that is what drives cancer research forward every single day.